coming lectures, we'll be studying some of the important families which are known to us right from the centuries. Because many of the families which have been introduced, these are not merely the families, but the members of these families, they have become the bread and butter of your life. Because these families are they are pertaining the economic value. And because of that, we are much more familiar about these families. So from today onwards, we are going to study the families, and the format of the protocol to study the families will be, we'll be studying its geographical distribution at the world level as well as in India. We'll be trying to identify some of the important genera of that family. After that, we'll be going ahead with studying some distinguishing characters, not general characters. We'll be studying some distinguishing characters of the members which are showing the characters. Obviously, these characters can be of vegetative type or reproductive type. So obviously, when we are talking about the characters, we are talking about the morphology. So this morphology may be at the numerical level or even it may be at the qualitative level. Then we'll be studying some of the representative members if it is possible. And then we'll be studying its systematic position. So how it has been placed or it has been treated by other taxonomies. As far as Savitribai Phule Pune University is concerned, right from the beginning of the botany department, we people are, as we were once upon a time ruled by the Britishers, still today we are following the Bentham and Hooker system of classification. Because Bentham and Hooker system of classification is the classification which is very practical, useful, easy to follow and easy to understand. Wherever possible, we are trying to study also the floral diagram and floral formula if at all it is available. But along with that, there is one more component which I am not covering, and that will be your task. And that component is nothing but the economic importance of the family. Because in given lecture, if at all I go on talking about the economic importance, it may take 1 or 2 extra lectures for me for each family. Because each family is having so many members, and all these members, they are being used for different and diverse economic purposes all over the world. And if at all you want to go on taking a survey of this, it is going to consume a lot of space and time. And so what I am doing, that economic importance is the component which I will be leaving to you. Obviously, I will be providing you some notes in which the major economic importance of the family will be definitely covered. So through the notes, you can get that idea about the economic importance, and then we'll be going ahead. Now, as I wanted to give you a sort of a overall idea what we are supposed to do today and tomorrow and the day after that, and the way we are going to study the family, there is one more practical approach I am thinking to go ahead with. And the practical approach is that, with the exception of today, our next family will be on the Tuesday after Monday. So I am requesting you that at the end I am going to declare a member of that family, the family which is to be studied. And I am requesting you that to try to collect a twig of that plant and keep that twig ready with you when you are listening to my lecture. It may be, in the other words, it may be a sort of a live demonstration. Because if at all you would have been gathering together in the classroom or in the practical hall, I would have given you the examples. I would have shown the material. The disadvantage of this particular online teaching is that I can see you, I can talk to you, but I cannot handle you. I cannot give you the examples. Yes, I can show you the figures. But if at all a specimen is available in each and everyone's hand, you can get a feel of that family. It will be very easy for you to understand what I'm talking. And so, henceforth, from the next week onwards, I'll be declaring the name of the family and the name of the plant, a representative, much more earlier. What you are supposed to do is that just take a round around your home, and definitely the member which I am going to suggest will be easily available with you. And just collect one sapling, one twig, one branch. Obviously, it should be a flowering branch, so that it will be very easy for you to understand. So for today's sake, let us go ahead with today's presentation. Now, when I'm talking about today's presentation, remember that we are going to keep one plant in our mind, and that plant is Michaelia champaka. Means that plant is what we call in Marathi as a सोन चाफा. तो सगळ्यांना चाफा माहिती आहे, आपण सोन चाफा म्हणतो, त्याला छान वास येतो आणि त्या सोन चाफ्यामुळं ते झाड खूप प्रसिद्ध आहे. Now that particular Michaelia belongs to this family. So today we are going to study the family Magnoliaceae. Now remember, whenever I am preparing a slide or PPT, the PPT will be a short form of what I am going to discuss. So don't totally rely on my slides, but henceforth, when I am discussing, keep a notebook and pen with you. Keep a notebook and pencil with you. So many small points I will be discussing, I will be telling you. If you jot it down, if you put it down, it will become again a record for you. And it will be easy for you to understand much better and also present yourself at the time of assessment. So as far as the Magnoliaceae is concerned, even though it is a very small family, the family is very important from the evolutionary point of view, phylogenetic point of view. Because this family is showing certain characters, which is nothing but it is an assemblage of primitive characters together in this family. And because of that, this family is important for we people, for botanists, and also this family is important for all taxonomists. As I told you, this family is a small family. Generally, this family is present in the tropical belt. So above the equator and above the Cape of Capricorn, almost all over the world. That is in Asia, in Africa, even in America, this family is existing. And obviously this family is present in very less number. It is not a major family at all. The plants are available in a sporadic fashion. Generally, they are growing independently, individually, and they never form a population. These plants or these members, they never form a population. And so, we have to identify these plants which are growing at random. Generally, even in the forest also, these plants, they are rare. Sometimes these plants are present on the margins, and these plants are much more generally present on the laterite soil. That is the soil which is dry one, which is formed because of the metamorphosis of the rock, that is weathering of the rock. So it's a small family, as I told you, from the tropics and subtropics. It is having almost 12 genera all over the world and almost 230 species. In India, this family is represented by 8 genera and almost 27 species. So India, this family, some members are even present in Maharashtra. But remember that these members, they have been introduced in our areas. They were not naturally growing in our areas. But majoritically, many of these plants, they are present in northern Himalaya. That is, they are present in Sikkim, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, and major areas. That is, they are present in evergreen and tropical forest. Yes, there are some plants which are present from centuries together, even in peninsular India, that is, at the central India. The most common plant which is present is the Michaelia. ज्याला आपण मराठीमध्ये सोनचाफा म्हणतो. मायकेलिया चंपका, ज्याला आपण चंपक म्हणतो, हिंदीमध्ये त्याला चंपक म्हणतात, मराठीमध्ये सोनचाफा म्हणतात. अतिशय छान वास असतो. Another plant which has been introduced much more earlier, centuries earlier, and which is generally present in the humid areas, particularly in the belt of Konkan. And that plant is Magnolia, or the genus which is Magnolia, and the species is Magnolia grandiflora. In Marathi, or in Konkan, this plant is called as a Kauthi Chafa because the bud is looking like a hard nut. It's a green hard nut. And that's why the plant is also aromatic. And generally, in Konkan areas, this plant it has been grown or it has been cultivated along the temples of the Devis. कोकणामध्ये माहिती आहे की तुम्हाला प्रत्येक गावाची एक ग्रामदेवता असते. कोकणामध्ये वाड्या आहेत, वस्त्या आहेत, छोटी छोटी गाव आहेत. त्या प्रत्येक गावाची एक ग्रामदेवता असते. आणि कोकणामध्ये खूपशा अशा देवी आहेत. शिरसाई देवी आहे, मंगला देवी आहे, अमुक आहे, अशा खूप देवी आहेत. खूप देवाची मंदिर आहेत. तर या प्रत्येक जवळपास देवीच्या मंदिराच्या मागच्या बाजूला हे झाड लावलेलं आहे. तेव्हा जर कदाचित तुम्ही कुठं कधी कोकणात फिरायला गेलात, आवर्जून तुम्ही कोकणामध्ये गेल्यानंतर त्यांच्यातल्या त्या भाजी मंडईला भेट द्या किंवा त्या मंदिराच्या बाहेर भेट द्या. तिथे जे बायका बसला असतात फुलं विकायला, त्या बायकांच्या जवळ ही दोन फुलं तुम्हाला 100% बघायला मिळतात. एक म्हणजे मायकेलिया म्हणजे सोनचाफा, त्या बायका परडी घेऊन बसल्या असतात, त्यामध्ये सोनचाफ्याची फुलं असतात. And another plant which is readily available is Magnolia. So you can have the Magnolia, you can see the Magnolia even in Konkan also, in Maharashtra. Yes, the Magnolia is present in Karnataka also to some extent, but Michaelia is present everywhere. So Michaelia is present also in the southern India, but naturally these plants are growing in the North Himalaya. So as far as the plants are concerned, generally these are evergreen small shrubs or large shrubs, perennial plants, or they are trees. So most of the times these plants are trees. So these plants, they are always slow growing. They are not fast growing. They are slow growing plants. Sometimes they are deciduous, means they are present even in the dry areas. The one genus, Schizandra, is a woody climber. The plants are obviously terrestrial. The plants are aromatic because the wood contains oil gland, or the bark contains oil gland. The shoot part and the even leaves are also containing the oil gland. So from taxonomical point of view, why this family is important? Because in this family, the xylem vessels are absent in the xylem. You know well, in angiosperms we have studied that this is a diagnostic character of angiosperms, that the xylems are with vessels. Or xylem vessels are present. But see the interesting thing, that in family Magnoliaceae, the xylem vessels are totally absent. But in this wood, rather than vessels, similar to that of pteridophytes and gymnosperms, the tracheids are present. So xylem vessels are absent and tracheids are present, and that's why this family is very unique family. Now, as far as the leaves are concerned, generally these plants, they have, or these members, they have the leaves which are present in the form of a crown. Crown means the leaves are generally present at the top or at the tip. So they are present in the form of a crown, and these leaves, they are having a caudicous boat-shaped stipule. On this stipule, sometimes it is also called as a ligule. because it may be present on the adaxial side of the leaf. पानाच्या मागच्या बाजूला असते ती, आणि त्यामुळं जेव्हा पान सुरू उगवणार असतं तर बाहेर पडणार असतं त्या देठामधून, त्याच्यावरती ते कव्हरिंग म्हणून ते स्टिप्यूल काम करतं. इट इज ऍक्टिंग ऍज अ लिगल. सो द स्टिप्यूल्स आर प्रेझेंट अँड देन दिस स्टिप्यूल्स आर कॉर्डिकस. त्यामुळे हे झाड ओळखण्याची खूण अशी की या झाडाच्या खाली तुम्ही जर बघितलं, कुठले मायक्लिया घ्या किंवा मॅग्नोलिया घ्या, त्या छोट्या छोट्या बोट शेपड त्या स्टिप्यूल्सचा सडा पडलेला असतो. त्यामुळे ही फॅमिली आयडेंटिफाय करायला खूप सोपी आहे. तुम्ही ज्या असे बोट शेपड म्हणजे अगदी खूप छान दिसतं ते, आणि त्या झाडाच्या भोवती असं खालच्या बाजूला जसं पानाचा सडा पडतो तसं त्या स्टिप्यूल्सचा सडा पडला असतो. मला गंमत म्हणून सांगतो की कोकणामध्ये हे जे स्टिप्यूल्स पडतात नंतर हे ड्राय होतात स्टिप्यूल्स. आता त्या स्टिप्यूलवरती पण ग्लँड्स असतात, त्यामध्ये अरोमॅटिक असतात, एक छान वास होतो त्या स्टिप्यूलला. गोव्यामध्ये आणि कोकणामधल्या स्त्रिया हे जे स्टिप्यूल्स पडतात त्याच्या पिनावर वापर करतात. त्या केसामध्ये फुल लावायला किंवा केसामध्ये मोठं काहीतरी अडकवायला किंवा गजरा अडकवायला ते पिन म्हणून वापरतात. इट्स व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. तुम्ही कोकणात गेला तरी आवर्जून बघा की त्या बायका आपल्या केसांमध्ये त्या आंबाडा घातलेला असतो, त्या आंबाड्यामध्ये त्या पिना लावलेल्या असतात. ते पिना कशा असतात? दे आर नथिंग बट दे आर द कॉर्डिकल स्टिप्यूल्स ऑफ दिस आयदर मायकेलिया और मॅग्नोलिया. The leaves are obviously simple, they are alternate, they are gland dotted. The glands are pellucidate. Pellucidate means their glands are having a cavity with the pellucidal tissue around them. So it is just like a stomata. But the stomata are having only 2 gland cells. In pellucidal glands, they are having many cells, at least 4 to 5 cells are present. And they are secreting the obviously aromatic compound, essential oil. And obviously the leaves are aromatic. Now these leaves, they are always glabrous. They are having a very shiny surface on the surface. They are never having the hairs on the surface. They are very shiny, smooth. They are having the acuminate apex. The apex is always pointed. Now as far as the inflorescence is concerned, in this family generally the flowers are solitary. The flowers are not born. The flowers are not born in an inflorescence, but the flowers are solitary. They are born singly. Either the flowers may be at the axillary position or they may be at the terminal position. And the flowers are also generally they are crowned at the top of the branches. म्हणजे ती फुलं जी आहेत ती पण अशी शेंडाला वाढतात, खाली येत नाही किंवा मध्ये येत नाही, ते टोकाला आलेलं असतात फुलं. तुम्ही चाफ्याचं झाड बघितलं असेल, जनरली चाफ्याला पण जिथं ती नवीन त्याला फुलं येत असतो तो पालवी येते त्याच्याच आसपास ती फुलं आलेलं असतात. सो द इन्फ्लुएन्सेस इज ऑल्सो नॉट प्रेझेंट बट द फ्लावर्स आर प्रेझेंट. नाउ बिफोर गोइंग दिस लेट मी शो यू दिस प्लांट्स. तर यू नो वेल आपल्या बारामतीमध्ये जवळ कितीतरी लोकांच्या घरात हे प्लांट असणार आहे. आणि इकडचं डावीकडचं प्लांट असणार आहे, जिचं मायकेलिया चंपक आहे, ज्याला आपण सोनचाफा म्हणतोय. तुम्ही बघू शकाल त्या सोनचाफ्यामध्ये पाकळ्या आहेत, त्या पाकळ्या दिसायला सगळ्या सारख्याच आहेत. सो द पेरियांथ इज प्रेझेंट. इवन दो दे मे बी डिफरन्शिएटेड बाय देअर साइज, जनरली दे आर टिपिकली having a similar type of orientation architecture. So it's a perianth, and then you can see at the base the free stamens are present, which are many, and there is a central elongated conical stalk, and on this conical stalk then the carpels are arranged. Now in the left side figure you can see even a particular old flower which is having only the conical stalk. म्हणजे हे पिवळं जे फुल दिसतंय त्या फुलाच्या मागच्या बाजूला बघितलं त्या चित्रात स्पष्टपणे तुम्हाला तो स्टॉक दिसतो ज्याच्यामध्ये ती कार्पेल्स अरेंज केली आहेत. You can see the arrangement of the spirocyclic arrangement or spiral arrangement of the carpels. Now this is another plant is on the right side. So this is Magnolia grandiflora, ज्याला आपण कवटी चाफा म्हणतो. We can see the same type of arrangement here. Here also the stamens are present at the base. They are having the fleshy perianth, and you can see the yellow at the center apocarpus gynoecium. So the gynoecium is present at the center, and in this hello.
Sir, screen is not visible.
सगळ्यांना दिसत नाहीये?
Yes, sir.
सगळ्यांना?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is visible to me.
No, ma'am.
एक काम करतोय मी परत प्रेझेंट करतो.
Okay, okay, sir.
Just a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now on the left side, it is a champaka, Michaelia champaka, सोनचाफा ज्याला म्हणतो, आणि ज्याला आपण कवठी चाफा म्हणतो ते उजवीकडे आहे. That is Magnolia grandiflora. So these are the two plants which are available even in Maharashtra also. Particularly both these plants, they are available in Konkan, they are available in Goa, they are available even yes, in Konkan only, not in the Deccan part. But this Michaelia, it is planted, it is not growing naturally, and it is present on all over the Maharashtra. So these are the two plants which are economically important and they are present in Himalayas. One plant is Liliodendron tulipifera because the flower are just like tulip. It is not tulip. So the plant is Liliodendron. It is a woody shrub and there is a climber. This is Schizandra chinensis. Now this is providing the berry which is economically important, and this berry is used for the preparation of jellies. So Schizandra jelly is available in Thailand, Indonesia and many other areas. So these are again two other genera which I have shown here. And you can see now this is the trachea. Now is a three-dimensional structure of the wood of the magnolia. And you can see the intersecting valves. So they are indicating that this is not a vessel which is not continuous, but it is a trachea which is broken down. The cells are present. Okay, we were talking about the flowers which are born solitary. Now let us go ahead. Now the flowers are bracteate. Obviously the bract is also very large and it is also spathecious, that is boat shaped. It is generally foliaceous, green, and that is also breaking down, that is deciduous. It is also breaking down. The perianth is generally present in a single or two whorls. Sometimes even the perianth may be present in multiple whorls, that is 2, 3, 4, 5 other whorls are also present. Now obviously they are all equal, that's why actinomorphic, bisexual. Now here there is no any distinction between the calyx and corolla, and that's why the flower may be incomplete. Then it cannot be called as a pentamerous or tetramerous because that radial symmetry is not clearly indicating, because the perianth lobes, stamens and carpels, they are many in number. So here the flower is not tetra or pentamerous, which is a typical character of dicots. But the floral parts, they are arranged on a spirocyclic fashion and they are arranged on an elongated receptacle. So there is a conical receptacle. आता receptacle डोळ्यासमोर ठेवायचं असेल तर पटकन सीताफळ डोळ्यासमोर ठेवायचं. आपण जेव्हा सीताफळ खातो किंवा फळ पाहतो तर सीताफळाच्या त्या फळामधल्या ज्या गर असतात ते गर सगळे त्या मधल्या का दांड्याभोवती अरेंज केलेलं असतं. So that is an elongated receptacle. Now Magnoliaceae family is also close to the Annunaceae family. सीताफळ हे अनून आहे, it belongs to Annunaceae family, and both these families they are close to each other, and that's why they are having this typical floral morphology, similarity. Obviously the flowers are aromatic, they are always large and showy. Remember, all the floral components, they are always free and they are spirally arranged. Now perianth, the tepals are many, they are free, arranged in 3 whorls. So here you cannot say that they are arranged in a valvate or imbricate distribution. No, they are free and spirally arranged. Now generally they are arranged sometimes in 3 whorls. The outermost whorl is sepaloid, that is, it is green color, at least from the outer side. And the inners are spirally arranged, which are much more larger, and they are corolla-like. And they are spirally arranged on a conical axis. So that arrangement of this perianth is also spiral arrangement. Generally, these are fleshy, they are larger, and they are aromatic. Now, androecium, the stamens are always many, they are always free, they are again spirally arranged, and they are arranged at the base of the perianth inside. They are always introsed and included. That is, the size of the stamens is always less, small than the perianth lobes. Now each stamen is having the filaments which are very short, but they are having the anthers which are much more longer in size. The anthers are dithecous and the anthers are adnate. That is, the anthers are attached to the side of the filament. म्हणजे त्या फिलामेंटच्या टोकाला असत नाही ते, तर ते फिलामेंट एका बाजून वाढतं असं उंच लांब होतं आणि त्याच्या एका बाजूला ते अंतर चिकटलेलं असतं अँथरलोब्स, or sometimes they are basic fixed. This particular arrangement is called as a lamellar stamen. That is, the stamens, they are having the enlarged connective. पुढे एखादी field असेल तर मी तुम्हाला दाखवतो. So the stamens are having the lamellar stamens. Remember, the spirally arranged free stamens, the anthers are adnate, and the lamellar anthers or lamellar stamens, this is a distinguishing character of this family. That's why this character is very important. Then, obviously, as I told you, they are intros, they are opening inside, and they are included, that is, they are present within the flower. As far as the carpel is concerned, polycarpellary, that is, carpels are many. Apocarpus, the carpels are always free, they are not united. The carpels are superior. The ovary is obviously superior because they are present on the elongated axis, and they are arranged on a conical elongated axis. They are always unilocular with many to one ovule. So sometimes it may contain one, or sometimes they, but generally they are containing many ovules, and the ovules are born on parietal placenta. So basically it may look like a marginal placenta, but it is not so. It is a parietal placentation. Now, before going ahead, we will complete this component, then we will come back. Now, in Magnoliaceae, the style is very short. You can say that it may be, the style may be absent also. And the stigma is either capitate, or the style and stigma, they are fused together. And that's why it is called as a stamina, a stigma is lateral to the style. Or generally this style is also called a stigmatic style. That is, stigma and style, they cannot be separated, both are present together. And that's why the stigma is inconspicuous. Now, obviously, as I told you, placentation is parietal. Now, when the ovary is free, that is, each carpel is separate, the individual ovary gets converted into fruit. And that's why, as I've written, the individual fruit is either a follicle, indehiscent, or a samara, which is dry, or a berry, as I shown, which is having a very thin wall around it. And these are arranged in an aggregate of fruit. It means it is very similar to that of Magnoliaceae. So this is called as an etario. Etario means aggregate. So generally the fruit in Magnoliaceae is called an etario of follicles, or etario of samara, or etario of berry. So this is a distinguishing character. It is a unique character of this family Magnoliaceae. So there is another important character which is very important from phylogenetic point of view. And what is the character? That in this Magnoliaceae, the seeds, they contain a very large, fleshy, oily endosperm. The endosperm is oily. The endosperm is much more larger in size, bigger in size, and it is fleshy. And it is remaining in the seed. On the contrary, that seed contains a very small embryo. Now remember, the copious endosperm and small embryo, this is a typical pteridophytic character. Whereas in all other cases, in other angiosperms, the endosperm is always small and the embryos are larger. That is exactly reverse is present in Magnoliaceae, and that's why this is one of the important characters. Now the primitiveness of this family is exhibited by one more character, that in all these members, the pollination is achieved by the entomophily, that is by the insects. But very interestingly, these are not the butterflies, but in the group insecta or in the group arthropoda, the most primitive members are bees and beetles. It means when the bees and beetles evolved at the beginning of the evolution in arthropoda, these members, they are still being used for the pollination of these plants. It means the Magnoliaceae might have evolved far more earlier than the butterflies. And because of that, to attract the bees and beetles, the floral parts like perianth, the bract, even the conical axis, they become fleshy, they become aromatic, they become scented, and they become tasty. And because of that, because of tastiness, so as to attract and so as to get the edible part, the bees and beetles are attracted. So this is a very unique and important character that in Magnoliaceae, the pollination is achieved by the primitive members of arthropoda, that is bees and beetles. And so that's why this particular component indicates that this family is also equally ancestor, equally primitive. When we are discussing these characters, now let us see the images. Now see this flower. Now this is a typical flower of Magnolia. Now you can see the leaves which are present in the background, and then you can see the fleshy perianth. So the perianth is not arranged in a cyclic manner. On the contrary, you can see they are arranged in a spiral manner, and that's why you cannot draw the estimation for this. Now again you can see at the bottom in a pale yellow color a large number of stamens. Very interestingly, you can see that the pink colored stamen base is nothing but it is a filament. Whereas the two lateral lobes, what you see, they are nothing but they are the anther lobes. And if at all you can see a single stamen at the center, you can see it is just like a boat shaped, where a boat shaped connective is present, and towards the lateral side of this connective, the anther lobes are attached and they are present towards the inner side, and that's why they are called the intros. Similarly, if you see just above this, you can see a conical central axis, and on this central conical axis, you can see the freely arranged carpels. So each carpel is separate, and you can see a beak-like structure. The beak-like structure is nothing but it is a style. So it is not having a typical style and stigma, but the style is functioning. It is itself is functioning as a stigmatic receptive component for the pollen grains. So that's why the family Magnoliaceae is very interesting. The same image I have drawn here in a magnified form, and you can see the filament anther, which is conical boat-shaped lamellar structure, and then you can see the multiple pistils, that is multiple carpels, which are having the curved styles. Remember, when the styles are curved towards the inner side of the style, it is acting as a stigma. So there is no any stigma separate, but the stigma and style, they are fused together, they are present together, and they are present at the base on the lateral side. Now, here you can see the images of magnolia. Now you can see the right side image, which is colored one, and at the center you can see what is meant by magnolia. So it is very similar to having a, what you see as a pale color, green color structure, that is a connective. And then, or in other words, you can see it is all enlarged filament, and on this filament you can see two sporangia in pairs, they are present on lateral side. So this is very similar. Now you can see the ontology. You see a parallel evolution, how it might have taken place, that from the sporangia, the anthers are evolved. That's why the magnolia is the intermediate stage, and that's why it is called as a lamellar structure. Now this is a sort of a diagram of a color diagram of a twig of Michaelia champaka, and now what I was telling you is present at the top. वरच्या बाजूला बघा या इमेजच्या त्या फुलाच्या डाव्या बाजूला एक छोटंसं बोट शेप स्ट्रक्चर दिसतंय, असं टोकदार स्ट्रक्चर दिसतंय. ते जे स्ट्रक्चर आहे दॅट इज द स्टिप्यूल. तो खाली पडल्यानंतर त्याला वास छान येतो आणि त्याला टोक असतं खूप चांगलं, आणि असं गोल असतं, त्यामुळे ते लागत नाही. आणि हे जे स्टिप्यूल आहे खाली पडलेलं, हे स्टिप्यूल कोकणामधल्या स्त्रिया आपल्या डोक्यामध्ये घालतात पेना म्हणून. यू कॅन सी द स्ट्रक्चर. त्यासाठी मी मुद्दाम ही इमेज तुम्हाला दाखवली. अँड देन यू कॅन सी याच्यामध्ये आणखी एक चित्र दिसतंय, ते म्हणजे द फ्लावर्स आर बॉर्न सिंगली अँड दे आर ऑलवेज प्रेझेंट ऍट द अपेक्स. तुम्ही बघितलं असेल की या ट्विग मध्ये खालचा भाग आहे तो सगळा मोकळा आहे, आणि वरच्याच भागामध्ये फक्त पानं पण आहेत आणि फुलं पण आहेत. And what I see or what I show is the right side. This is called as an etario of follicles. या ठिकाणी फ्रूट तुम्हाला दाखवतोय ते एकत्र आलेलं फ्रूट आहे. म्हणजे या फुलाचं रूपांतर जेव्हा फळात होईल तर ते असं दिसतं. यातलं प्रत्येक कार्पेल आहे, या प्रत्येक कार्पेल पासून एक छोटं फळ तयार होतं आणि या त्यातला मधला दांडा आणखी मोठा होतो आणि त्यामुळं दिसायला असं एक झुंबड लागल्यासारखं हे असं आपल्याला दिसायला कसं दिसतं, हे द्राक्षासारखं दिसतं, द्राक्ष घोसासारखं दिसतं. पण द्राक्षाच्या घोसामध्ये प्रत्येक द्राक्ष हे स्वतंत्र फुल आहे आणि इथं मात्र प्रत्येक द्राक्ष यातला घोसातलं फुल हे प्रत्यक्ष एक कार्पेल आहे आणि त्यामुळे इट इज अ सिंगल फ्लावर विच इज गेटिंग कन्व्हर्टेड इंटू एन इटारियो, म्हणून याला ऍग्रिगेट फ्रूट म्हणतात. So same image which has been drawn in the form of a floral diagram and floral formula. So you can see the C character at the center, it is showing the lamellar structure, and then it is showing the D, that is the LS of the ovary, which is showing a parietal placentation. Now similarly you can see that is F component, that is toward the far right. You can see some of the components or some of the fruits they are getting opened up. ते फळं जी आहे छोटी छोटी ते ओपन वाढलीत आणि तुम्ही त्याच्यामध्ये बिया पण दिसतात तुम्हाला. यू कॅन सी द सीड्स ऑल्सो. अँड देन ऍट द सेंटर, देन ऍट द जी इज रिप्रेझेंटिंग द फ्लोरल डायग्राम. त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्ही दिसत असेल की इट इज नॉट अ टिपिकल फ्लोरल डायग्राम, बट ऑल द कंपोनेंट्स दे आर स्पायरली अरेंज्ड ऑन द सेंट्रल कोनिकल ऍक्सिस. सो व्हाय दिस पर्टिक्युलर मॅग्नोलिएसी फॅमिली इज इम्पॉर्टंट. आता आपण जी चर्चा केली त्यातला हा छोटासा synopsis that Magnoliaceae is exhibiting the woody habit. There is a presence of oil glands on the surface. Now remember these many of the time these glands are present on the outer surface of the stigma of the stem. So they are present in the form of a stalk glands. Generally in these glands terpenes are present. So terpenes are nothing but these are phenolic compounds, aromatic compounds, and these are present. That's why they are aromatic. The xylem is without vessels. The flowers are solitary, that is single flower is present. Obviously, when the parent is not there, it is incomplete. The floral parts are arranged on a conical elongated axis. As I told you repeatedly, the flowers are always large and showy and they are aromatic. There is a presence of large spathious bract. So this is a very interesting character which is seen in the pteridophytes, where the megasporophiles, they are protected by a sterile bract. So this is a representative of that, where a large spathious bract is present even in the magnolia. So the stamens are free, they are many, they are lamellar, the anthers are adnate, that is they are laterally attached. The ovary is apocarpus with many ovules. They are arranged spirally on a conical axis. Obviously, the style is very short, curved. The stigma is absent. That's why the style is called the stigmoid style. And the seeds are always present with a large endosperm and a small embryo. The pollination is by the bees and beetles. All these characters show the affinity of Magnoliaceae towards the primitive angiosperms. So the earlier angiosperms, they were almost showing such a type of characters, and because of that, the Magnoliaceae family is considered as one of the most primitive family of the angiosperms. So this is the most primitive family within the dicots also is true, but even within the angiosperms also, this is the most primitive family, and that's why this family is much more interesting. And then last component is the systematic position. So obviously this has been arranged as per the Bentham and Hooker system of classification. The division spermatophyta, subdivision angiospermi, obviously class dicotyledony, subclass polypetally, because it is divided into polypetally, gamopetally, and apetally. So this belongs to first polypetally, where the perianth lobes are free. The series thalamiflory means the ovary is superior and disc is absent. And that's why the series it is thalamiflory. And then it belongs to order Renales. In the Renales, obviously the placentation is either basal or parietal, but the carpels are free. And that's why this is the order Renales. and the family Magnoliaceae. Now we have seen the distinguishing character of this family. Now I will be providing you the notes of this family, literature, in other words, of this family, and in that literature some efforts may be given on providing you the information about the economic importance of this family. But as a homework, you all are requested to prepare a separate note of economic importance of Magnoliaceae, and you are supposed to submit it on WhatsApp to Patil Madam up to Monday. तेव्हा इकॉनॉमिक इम्पॉर्टन्सची तुम्ही स्वतः एक नोट तयार करायची आहे. यासाठीची माहिती तुम्ही स्वतः उपलब्ध करायची आहे. मग ती नेटवरून करा, पुस्तकातून करा, इतर ठिकाणून करा. कॉपी करायची नाही, एक्सचेंज करायचं नाही. प्रत्येकानं आपापली माहिती स्वतः गोळा करायची आणि ती माहिती जमा करायची आहे. ऑल्सो देयर इज अनदर टास्क that you have to prepare one note on the affinity of the Magnoliaceae family, or why the Magnoliaceae family is considered as a primitive family. या टायटलचं एक छोटासा एसे लिहायचा आहे, निबंध लिहायचा आहे, आणि तो निबंध देखील तुम्ही सर्वांनी सोमवारी सबमिट करायचा आहे. तेव्हा येत्या सोमवारी तुम्ही सगळे